Alright, what's up everybody? We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. We'll just quickly do the nightly audio check and the visual check. Oh, you know what? I forgot to turn on the DVR. Let me do that. Anyway, if you can hear us and if we are streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and leave a thumbs up in the chat and we will get started shortly. If you refresh your web browser, you should be able to rewind. I just enabled the DVR, so we'll get started here in a moment, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us from a very, very cold and windy. It's windy again. It's probably like 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts here in New York City. We'll get started in a moment. Alright everybody, let's go ahead and kick things off. So good evening and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. Today is officially the last day of April. Wow. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. It's about 9:12 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are reporting live directly outside of the GM building, overlooking Apple's Fifth Avenue flagship store, and across the way is the very famous and iconic Plaza Hotel. It's a very windy night, it's a very cold night, but it's going to be a very busy night in New York, and what I want to do tonight is I want to walk all the way down to 34th Street, Penn Station, and check out Madison Square Garden. Now, I believe the New York Knicks are playing right now. I think they're in the third quarter. So by the time we get down there, we're probably going to be seeing all of the Knicks fans come out of the arena, which should be pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and do that tonight. Big correction day today on Wall Street. We had a pretty big reaction at the S&P 500 right at the 50-day moving average. This is something we posted about on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. So if you pull up a chart of the S&P 500 on Bloomberg, Terminal, TradingView, really however you look at charts, you could see we had a downside reaction right at the 50. So a lot of times the way corrections start, you'll have these violent moves breaking back below the 50-day, then you'll have a relief rally to the 50, and then you'll roll over again to the downside. Usually corrections happen in three ways. We'll talk about the overall trend of the general market, but first we have some positive news coming out of Amazon as they reported earnings today. So ticker symbol AMZN, Amazon reported earnings after the bell, and Amazon profits more than triples, topping Wall Street expectations. Now, there was a few bright spots. Advertising revenue grew about 24% in the first quarter, outpacing retail and cloud computing. Amazon Web Services also reported results that topped the vast majority of analysts' expectations. But if we break it down in terms of EPS, that is the bottom line, earnings per share came in at 98 cents. The vast majority of analysts on Wall Street were expecting 83 cents, so there was a big beat on the bottom line. But let's take a look at the top line. Revenue growth also beat analysts' expectations, coming in at $143.3 billion. Analysts on the street were expecting about $142.5 billion. The specific sector that we care about the most, right, as we've gone through earnings season, we talked about Google's Google Cloud unit. We talked about Microsoft's Azure unit. And now we're going to talk about Amazon AWS, reporting $25 billion worth of revenue for AWS services. That was beating expectations of $24.5 billion. So cloud computing is still a massive growth business. Okay, so pretty much all the boxes were checked this earnings season from the big tech giants, mainly the big cloud computing giants. But also, we can get a little bit of a glimpse into the consumer and advertisers coming back. Advertising revenue at Amazon also beat expectations, coming in at $11.8 billion versus the $11.7 billion in revenue that was expected by analysts. We saw the same exact thing at Alphabet, right? Advertising revenue really coming back in a major way, not only for Google search, but YouTube. YouTube had some fantastic advertising numbers that it reported throughout Q1, which is really good news, right? That's a sign that the economy is healthy. If advertisers are willing to put more advertising spend back behind their products, that's generally good news. Last but not least, operating income for Amazon soared more than 200% to $15.3 billion. Pretty incredible. I'll read that one more time. Operating income up 200% to $15.3 billion. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and close up the laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will get started. Once again, we're going to be walking all the way down to, you guessed it, Madison Square Garden for the Knicks game. All right, give me a minute. We forgot to mention the Fed. That's going to come up soon, too. All right. Now, it's funny because I swapped out my spring/fall Brooks Brothers jacket, like a light kind of windbreaker-esque jacket, last minute for my winter jacket. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody, hopefully this will be the last live stream when we will be wearing the winter jacket, because I feel as if it's a little bit ridiculous to wear a winter jacket in May. And tomorrow, thank God, is May. So we finally made it through April. Congratulations. And let's just totally skip over spring and move right into the summer. What do you guys think? Anyway. All right, I see New England Crypto. What's going on? Gary Carpenter. Love that beach. Welcome, welcome. Alan is here. Good to see you. Troy Atman. Amy. What's up? Shannon is here. I see DMD. Evan Weeks. What's going on? Interested to hear your thoughts on a lot of these big tech earnings. I think coming in a lot better than expected, which is pretty good. Who else we got? Dexy, Albert, Solo 401, Mr. Porter, and everybody. All right, cool. We got a full house early tonight. Again, standing on the corner of 5th Avenue. They're putting up these really cool displays. So there are these flower displays, right? But they actually have real flowers and real landscaping inside of it. It's kind of cool. We're going to walk down 5th Avenue tonight, all the way down to 34th Street. Penn Station, we'll check out Madison Square Garden. And all the way down 5th, you're kind of going to see these structures that are going up. I was kind of checking them out today during the daylight, and they look pretty cool. Not too sure how long they're going to be up for, but they definitely look nice. Hunter, this is Tom. All right, let's see what Hunter says. Do you have an opinion on the FTC outlawing the usage of non-competes? Well, here's the thing. In New York, right, and I'm just going to speak from a standpoint of New Yorkers, non-competes, the way it was explained to me, they're really not, they're not enforceable in New York. And I really don't think they, were worth more than the paper they were written on, non-competes, for the most part. However, I've signed non-competes before. Very, very seldom will a company come after you, unless you're like a big player or a big wig at the organization. If you're like partner level, if you're a big director or something like that. But a regular, mid-level, lower level employee who's signing a non-compete, I've never personally had an experience where a company actually, followed through on their non-compete clause, so to speak. So in a state like New York, it's pretty much always been non-enforceable for the most part. Again, however, if you had a big role or a big position, or you were a big moneymaker at another company, then yeah, if you left to a competitor and you took some proprietary information, they would definitely try to come after you. I think there was 2 Goldman Sachs traders that Goldman came after. They were alleging that they took some of the source code for some of the trading algorithms, but then again, that's not even really a non-compete thing. That's just alleged theft. Evan Weeks says, I don't think they're enforceable anywhere, to be honest. The difference is when they're a part of a severance package. Violating the terms of a severance can be very ugly business. That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. I guess I had one friend go through a situation similar to that. This was when the T-Mobile Sprint merger happened. And my buddy was like a lifer at Sprint. He was like legacy Sprint for 20 years. Got laid off, got a big severance, but he wanted to work for another phone company. And I think T-Mobile did send him some sort of a letter because he was getting paid out like in a major way. But again, he was kind of higher level. But I guess when there's compensation like that coming into play, maybe it's a little bit more enforceable. I don't know. But yeah, I think I agree with Evan. For the most part, unless you're, C-level or big director or something, I don't think they'll bother to come after you. Yeah, Matthew M. talking about a lot of the craziness going on at Columbia. I mean, I just can't even believe some of that stuff. My whole thing is you can't legitimize these people, right? They were holding a press conference for these people who were barricading themselves in, I think, one of the buildings in Columbia, and they held like a formal press conference with these people. You can't legitimize them. They're cartoon characters. They're clowns, Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. This is the main entrance to Trump Tower. K4, what's going on? Good to see you. Hunter says thank you for the insight. No worries. Antonio says Madison Square Garden's going to be rocking tonight. I think so too. We may not even be able to stream down there because it's going to be buffering so much. We'll see. But overall action in the general market today, big sell-off. I believe the S&P 500 was down 1.5%, but we had that big reaction around the 50-day moving average, right? So we had that maybe 2 to 3 day relief rally. Volume was rather light. There was a slight pickup in volume today, but you could tell that Trump's here. Hold on. You could tell that Trump's here in Trump Tower because look at all these Secret Service vehicles. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Cadillac Escalades. And then obviously you have the whole entirety of the Trump Tower barricade off. Let's see if we can see any of the lights on up there. Anyway, relief rally was on low volume, but we're going into the Fed. We're going into the FOMC. So I think tomorrow's going to be the big tell. We'll see. Conclusion of the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. Any thoughts? I know that we kind of spent a lot of time last night talking about it, but hold on, I'm getting distracted by... Now, okay, we're going to do a quick segue here. Do you guys think any of these vehicles right here, these Cadillac Escalades, do you think they're like plated out with bulletproof panels, or are these just like basic, just regular Cadillac Escalades? I feel as if they are Secret Service vehicles, they're probably plated out with some sort of ballistics, right? I don't know. It's just kind of my mind racing. They look cool. Look at this one. This one's matte black. That thing is crazy looking. I actually really like that color scheme. If that was on like a Tesla Model X, I really like that colorway. Solo 401 says they look like the basic because usually you can kind of tell if something's all plated out or kitted out. I don't know. Yeah, T-Max says that one is fire. That one looks really, really nice. Not to make the stream about that, but it's kind of cool to see all these Secret Service vehicles here. I mean, 5th Avenue, 57th Street this year is probably going to be one of the most secure areas in the United States as this trial continues to go on. Anyway, but thoughts for the Fed? Do you think we're going to get any curveballs going into the FOMC, or do you think Fed Chair Jerome Powell is just going to play it safe? He's going to come out and say, hey guys, we need more data. I actually want to cross and take a look at this thing. We need more data coming in to confirm that inflation's actually coming down. We had 2 horrible inflation prints, unacceptable inflation prints. So there'll probably be, my prediction is there's obviously going to be no cut. It's going to be a pause, but he should come off as a little bit more hawkish than normal to kind of try to talk down the market, cool things off a bit. Look at this. This is cool. So we're right outside of one of my favorite buildings in New York. right here. This is the University Club. We talk about it a lot. Beautiful, beautiful on the outside and the inside. The architecture on the inside is unbelievable. It's similar architectural notes that you would see in the Stephen Schwarzman building, New York Public Library. So this event here is called Fifth Avenue Blooms. And there's going to be different kind of monuments, different designs, exhibits, if you will, all up and down Fifth Avenue. For those of you who are interested, let's see if I can get you close enough where you could scan the QR code and just see what it's all about. But these are real flowers. Looks cool, right? And these are going to go all the way down to Rockefeller Center. I'm seeing a lot of hawkish, going to be more hawkish in chats. Someone says thoughts on the Republic Bank failure. Yeah, we covered that. That was on Friday. So it went into the receivership, I believe, on Friday, just before the weekend. Funny enough. But here's my take on it. And it's not, I'm not trying to talk it down. I did get a lot of emails. I got like 3 or 4 emails when we did that stream on Friday night, kind of talking about the bank failure. A lot of people claim that I was trying to talk it down. I wasn't trying to talk it down. I do think it's serious, but we've been covering this for a long time. The regional banking sector in the United States is more exposed to a lot of the commercial real estate, right? And how is commercial real estate in the United States doing? Specifically office, right? Not too good, but that's something the market already knew. And that is where the vast majority or the lion's share of the exposure lies, is in the regional banks. So I believe we are going to see a continuation of a trend that we've already been seeing, with the bigger banks getting increasingly bigger and essentially cannibalizing or taking over a lot of the smaller banks. Now, I'm not for that. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but in the United States, you're going to see the big banks get bigger and acquire more assets and take on more business. And you're really going to see the culling out of these smaller regional banks, which is unfortunate, but they were really, really loaded up on a lot of the long duration debt or the long duration bonds when interest rates were really, really low. Now, again, the correlation in the debt market or the bond market is as interest rates go up, the value of the bonds, the bond prices, they go down, right? So what does that mean for the mark-to-market value of those regional banks' portfolios? They're significantly worth a lot less, so that provides a lot of uncertainty, if you will. So I'm not trying to talk it down. It's a major problem, right? It's a crisis, but I just think this crisis is going to be contained to the regional banks. Here you can have a pretty good view inside. Look at that. Stan says a couple of big banks wrote off $5 billion in bad debt this month. $5 billion is nothing. $5 billion is like a pissant. But here's the thing. I'm not trying to downplay that. Many of you will say, oh, you're downplaying it because you use the term pissant. Maybe, but go back 3 quarters ago and look what Goldman Sachs did. They just fire sailed and pretty much wrote off their entire commercial real estate portfolio. They fire sailed the whole thing. So, look, I think these banks will be quick to take the losses where they think they're going to take a bath. And that's just the market. Everybody knows that commercial real estate, some of these buildings that they're selling for across the country, these office buildings, it's crazy town prices, right? It's quite literally fire sale prices. And I think that's because fundamentally the economy has changed. If you're going to bring people back to the office, they're not going to go back to an older, dilapidated building. They're going to go back to the newer, high-rise, glitzy, Class A office towers. And that's exactly what you're seeing in major cities. You're seeing a lot of strength in commercial office that is brand new. For example, 1 Vanderbilt, 425 Park, there's some bright spots in Hudson Yards, and a lot of the stuff like in Midtown East is not doing well at all, and there's like very, very, very high vacancy, which is a major problem. So the city is going to need to find something to do with all these vacant buildings. Many people are saying, well, convert them into condos, right? I mean, people need a place to live. New York City needs more residential supply to come on the market so it's not so expensive. And I think that's a good idea, but it's also a little bit easier said than done. Little bit easier said than done in terms of the office to condo conversion. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is a pretty cool shot here. You're looking at the Cartier building. Wow, SoCal Lawrence as the Knicks and the 76ers are in overtime right now. Oh my God. By the time we get down to MSG, and if the Knicks win, it's going to look crazy over there. I'm actually kind of happy we're going to get that on live stream. It's going to be wild as we head down to Madison Square Garden. That's crazy. Hopefully the Knicks win. We'll see. Matthew M says, what a game going into overtime. What's the score? Let me see. Oh, Troy Atman says the score is 97-97. Crazy. NBA Elias says, Tom, the employment cost index, the ECI, was also higher for Q1, higher than expected, contributing to stocks dropping today. Yeah, and the Fed is going to look at all that stuff, right? It's kind of like a double-edged sword because the data that we're getting is showing that the economy is strong, generally speaking. I know a lot of people could argue that. But the stronger the economy is, the less likely that the Federal Reserve becomes more dovish and starts easing, which we really don't need. Now we're also going to get a little bit of an update tomorrow on the Fed balance sheet and what they plan to do with that. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral. Looks incredible amongst the clouds here. Now, if you take a look at the St. Louis Federal Reserve website, let's just cross the street to check this out. Look at this. This is cool. So if you go to the St. Louis Federal Reserve website, you're going to be able to look at the Fed balance sheet. And you'll notice it was like a hockey stick chart up and to the right. But since quantitative tightening, that balance sheet has been decreasing a little bit. And we are going to get an update as to what is the go-forward plan from Fed Chair Jerome Powell as it relates to the Fed balance sheet. Looks like they're still setting it up, but this is pretty cool. This is right on the corner of East 52nd Street and 5th. They do a really good job of trying to make Fifth Avenue look good. WH7s is for hockey. What are you? Are you an Islanders fan? I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a huge hockey fan, but if I had to pick a team, it'd probably be the New York Rangers. I like to root for all New York teams. Not a huge sports guy, but I'm always pulling for New York. Now, does anybody remember when I said that this year in New York City, or I should say this summer in New York City, is going to be the most tourist trafficked summer of all time? That was my prediction. If the New York Knicks continue to perform well here, and again, I don't know what the next step is from here, like to progress to the NBA Finals. I don't even know when it is. But if the Knicks keep winning, oh my gosh, this city is going to be electric. Like, you have no idea. I mean, New York teams never win anything in long time. So this city is going to be on fire. So fingers crossed. I mean, that's going to be cool to witness. All right, let's take a look at more of this stuff. This is a really cool shot because you're looking right at this display, but in the backdrop, you have the beautiful St. Patrick's Cathedral. Hey, John Sunderland says the Rangers just beat the Capitals. Looks really good. T-Mac says there's so much to do in New York City. Do you think the athletes get distracted? Probably not. I mean, they're professionals for a reason, right? They probably have substantial mental fortitude, but they also probably do their fair share of partying and blowing it out. Hey, sunshine after rain. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We're making our way to Madison Square Garden for the Knicks game. But I always like what they do on Saks Fifth Avenue here. Now, we were talking about LVMH, their earnings report. If you go to LVMH Investor Relations website, on the front page of the earnings report, they have this gorgeous photograph of Saks Fifth Avenue with the holiday display, the 2023 Christmas display that was on there. We've seen it about 1 million times on the stream. It's a really cool video, check it out. It's another company that's really killed it this earnings season. Every single business metric at LVMH was positive or up, except their spirits business. Their wines and spirits business was actually down. And that's why we were kind of talking about that conversation. You know, there's studies that show that Gen Z and millennials are drinking less alcohol. There you have it, Rockefeller Center. But I love all those American flags that are hanging off of Saks. You can see the spire of One Vanderbilt. There's the hot dog guy. Hey Dario, what's going on? Good to see you. You know, I think we talked about this too, but there was also some wild action last week in the Japanese yen. I mean, that thing is an absolute free fall. So speaking of, you know, things to do being a tourist, if you're from the United States of America and you have some extra cash and you're thinking about taking a vacation, it's probably actually best to do that abroad. US dollar is relatively strong against many baskets of foreign currencies, so your dollar can go a lot further. So if you want to take a vacation, maybe think about traveling internationally with the strong dollar we have. Hey, the Mighty Bull, what's up? Good to see you. Neighbor Bob says, Tom, the office conversion idea, I don't think it's cost effective. You literally have to redo every foot of the plumbing and electrical, along with building new walls. It might be cheaper to build new. Most times it actually is. I shouldn't say most times. Oftentimes it's cheaper to build new. But it can be done. It can be done, but it is very costly. There's a lot of successful... Whoa, let's actually go down here. I think this is the first time this is open. I'm getting distracted a lot tonight, but there's a lot of new stuff in the city going on. But no, you're totally right. But at least we're coming up with some creative solutions to repurpose these buildings. However, to your point, once demolition costs come down, it may be more beneficial just to demo all these buildings and just build new product. Totally agree. Now, the city is making very good strides in redoing the NYCHA housing, and I think it's going to be some private entities are going to be in there too. Hey, New England Crypto, thank you so much for the $2 donation. This is I dare to go eat at the hot dog cart. Oof. Maybe later. Not a big fan of those guys. But thank you for your very generous donation. I appreciate it. But with a lot of the government subsidized housing, like the NYCHA housing in New York City, I believe a lot of that is going to be totally torn down and replaced. And I think there's a lot of private entities that are going to take those projects on. This is kind of cool to get this close to here. Hey, Patrice 2020, what's going on? Now, speaking of new renovations, the interior of Rockefeller Center was totally redesigned, and down here is completely brand new. Really nice. So all the way in the back here, this is a brand new bar. You guys got to come here in person during the day. There's so many different restaurants here. There's, coffee shops. They did an amazing job. Excuse me. And this summer they're really going to open it up down here. Dale says, was the update after 2016? It was. This is all brand new down here. Neighbor Bob, I think there is. Neighbor Bob says, Tom, do you think there's a correlation between people's discretionary income and gambling on these meme stocks, I think there's a very high correlation between the accessibility to online casino gambling and sports betting and people using the stock market as a gambling tool. Because if you think about it, if you're a college kid, right, and you download Robinhood and you buy, a couple call options and you have no idea what you're doing, and then you go bet on, a sporting event, there's no difference. There's virtually no difference. Which I think is building poor investing habits. However, I am optimistic about it because that gets a lot more people excited about investing. And what usually happens is you get excited, you just start trading, and you start with $1,000. You'll trade the $1,000 to $50,000, and you think you're a genius. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to make a fortune. I just made, 40 grand. That's more money I made my entire life. And then you lose it all. And that's how it happens every time, without fail. And then once you lose all your money and you get burned, right, when you put your hand on the hot stove, then you're like, okay, let me start to take this seriously. Let me stop gambling and let me learn how to do things the appropriate way. So I don't think it's all bad, but I do think there is probably definitely a correlation between casino, like online gambling, right, sports betting online, and the rise of all of these meme stocks that you're kind of talking about. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? I think you probably have a correlation there. Don says, are we going to go to MSG? We are. We're headed there right now. Just let's walk back up the stairs and we'll head out. But yeah, it's cool down there. Now, if you remember last year, they had that big roller skating rink down here. Doesn't look like they're going to do that this year, but no worries. All right, let's get back on 5th Avenue, and we'll make this right. Yeah, Grand Street once is drones in the sky above 144th Street. To curb... What does that say? To curb NYPD heading into Columbia University. Well, what I heard is that... yeah, I mean, that whole thing is just absolutely nuts, man. It's just a cartoon. The only way I can describe it is just absolutely cartoonishly ridiculous. That's how I could describe it. And I think the administration at Columbia is handling it so poorly. But then again, I think maybe they're not handling it poorly. Maybe they're handling... Oh, nice grab, guy. Awesome snag by those two gentlemen. But maybe this is how Columbia wants to handle things. You ever think of that? I don't know. Like, again, I'm all about peaceful protesting. But if you go barricade yourself in some building... and then, like, the media gives you a platform to hold a press conference, that's just like cartoon land. That's ridiculous. You know, the lady coming out here and saying, we demand food and water after we locked ourselves in this building. It's ridiculous. How about, dude, it's finals week. Students are trying to take their finals. How about you stop being hellraisers and let people go to school? It's insane. And the vast majority, right, the overwhelming majority of the people that are raising hell are these like seasoned protesters that have been doing it since the 70s. Like, why are you even allowing them on your campus? They don't even go to the school. So I think it's just such a bad mark on Columbia. During finals week, okay, when you know tensions are high with this Israel-Palestine thing going on, why are you letting people who don't even go to the university? It happens every time. So yeah, that's the first thing I'd do. I'd say, listen, if you are not a student at Columbia University, you can't come on campus. I would have a security guard there at the gate. Just show me your ID. If you want to get in, show me your ID. That's what I had to do when I was in school. Let's try to cross here. Yeah, Mias, there's a lot of police up there right now. I mean, think about that too. I mean, you know, I give these NYPD officers a lot of credit. Number one, they make no money, okay? So you're essentially living in poverty, and then you have to deal with like the biggest derelicts. Could you imagine dealing with these people all day? I just don't know how they keep their mental sanity. It's crazy, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I mean, Columbia. You know, these people that go to Columbia and these administrators. I mean, these are Ivy League educated people. They should be smart. This is finals week at an Ivy League college. People are studying. People are trying to, you know, take their finals, trying to take their exams. It's totally okay to protest, but to hell raise and make the campus an encampment, that's just ridiculous. I think everybody can agree that that's ridiculous. It's just stupid. And again, the vast majority of the hell raising is taking part by non-students. They're these, you know, 40-year-old men and women. Like, what the hell are they like, where are you guys even coming from? It's like, it's crazy. Wow, look at the spire of the Empire State Building. Yeah, Dock 7, I know. I mean, I wonder how that must work with finals, right? I mean, if these kids are sleeping outside in these tents, I'm assuming that means they're skipping their finals. So, I mean, are they worried about... Like, are they worried about getting, like, failing their class? Like, that's my biggest question. Because I was a college student once. I mean, I didn't go to an Ivy League school, but still, finals week, you were a little anxious. You're like, okay, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to take the finals. Hopefully I pass the class. Like, do these people just not care if they fail? And, you know, if you fail a course at Columbia, those are expensive classes. You know, it's not like you're going to city college like I did. I went to public school in New York City. So if you fail the class, it's not the end of the world. It's like $400 to take another one. These classes at Columbia are expensive. Anyway. Did the 76ers win? Damn, that's too bad. IPDS is how was Kava. Kava was very good. Honest score 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. Now, would I constantly go there as much as I frequent like a Chipotle? I don't know. Troy Atman says, how do you rank Chipotle food? Now this is on a QSR scale, right? So this isn't like a sit-down restaurant scale. But I'd say, on a QSR, quick service, under 15 bucks, Chipotle's definitely like an 8.8 for sure. Neighbor Bob says, Tom, how do you vet someone that is looking at a $100 million property? How do you know they aren't posing as wealthy? I haven't really came across that. I mean, I've showed some $20 million properties. Most times you can kind of tell right away. And a lot of the times they have representation. It's either we're representing them direct or they're already coming kind of with a broker. But yeah, I mean, we've had some directs that just reach out to us from some of our listings and say, hey, I'm interested in seeing this property. Are you free at, 3 o'clock? If they provide a phone number, we do some, obviously you want to do as much, pre-qualification as possible. So I'll just pick up the phone and give them a call. Thank them for reaching out and kind of just ask them questions, just like pepper them with questions. The reason why I'm calling you, I'd love to show you the property, but at first I want to make sure it's going to be right fit. I don't want to waste your time, right? And if they're receptive to that questioning, then they're probably real, right? What square footage are you looking at? Is it going to be like a 1031 deal where you're rolling it in from a recent sale? And if you ask them those questions and they're very responsive, it's, more than likely they're real buyers, I'd say. This is the Stephen Schwartzman building, New York Public Library. I have seen that though. I think there were some like investigative journalist videos that would reach out to brokers posing to be like, multi-millionaire buyers just to kind of see what it's like. This is the newer New York Public Library. I think it's raining a little bit. I think it is supposed to rain just a teeny bit. Brad's brain, I appreciate that. Hey Theo, what's going on? Yeah, the library is majestic, and it looks fantastic now that things are in bloom. Tulips look great too. I think it is raining. I kind of feel the raindrops. Maybe we'll have to duck into, well, we're kind of close anyway to 34th Street. Maybe it'll be a little bit of a passing shower, but I don't think I've seen it rain as much as it's rained this year. This has been like crazy with the rain. Every day almost. Oh wow, it's like a big downpour. see if we can take cover. Wow, that came from out of nowhere, guys. Look at that. Kind of looks nice, like strangely nice though. Troy Atman says, do I have my umbrella? I don't. I didn't think it was going to rain tonight. This shot looks really good though. Look at that. With the water reflecting, or the lights reflecting off the water. It looks really nice. No way. Stylish Bunny says, according to the Weather Channel, it's supposed to rain until 2 a.m. Yikes. We'll get walking here in a minute to MSG. But yeah, you know, one of the main things that we talked about is Amazon earnings. Profitability exploded at Amazon, nearly tripled. And there was two really big bright spots in Amazon's earnings report. Number one, AWS revenue, cloud computing revenue, was really, really good. And number two, more broadly, which we could use as maybe a leading indicator, advertising revenue is bouncing back in a major way. And we've seen this with Alphabet, right, Google, in both their, you know, pay-per-click advertising and with YouTube too. Wow, this is like a really cool shot. The city looks nice when it just rains. What do you guys think? It's slippery though. The only thing that I remember from taking my driver's test is that apparently the road is the most dangerous when it just rains. So about 10 to 15 minutes after the rain starts is when it's most dangerous to be out on the road. Because all the oils that were inside, you know, the asphalt rises to the top, right, because it rains. And it's not enough rain yet to wash all that stuff into the drainage. So it's very, very, very dangerous the first 5 to 10 minutes after it rains. Now, does anybody know what this building is? Let's see if anybody can guess correctly. This still is a very famous building, but right on the corner of West 38th Street. Anybody know what this building used to be? I'll give you a hint. It used to be very highly trafficked during the holidays. Anybody know? I think Amazon bought this building. Love That Beach. This is a Macy's. No, it's not Macy's. Close, actually. Somebody says FAO. 5 bags of popcorn. You're right. Ding, ding, ding. Lord & Taylor. Who here is old enough to remember Lord & Taylor's? This is it. Used to be right here, Lord & Taylor. EMV says, Tom, speaking of that, how do you think Tesla's full self-driving will handle not ideal raining conditions. I don't know. I'd assume it'd be pretty safe. I don't have a Tesla, but I'd assume it'd be pretty safe. I mean, I'd assume the engineers would account for that. EMV, do you have a Tesla? How do you like the full self-driving if you do? I'm very optimistic on all that stuff. Autonomous vehicles. Ooh, you can see everybody getting out from the Knicks game. There's probably going to be a lot of angry New York Knicks fans. Hopefully none of them take their anger out on us. You never know. A lot of times people get crazy. Yeah, I know. Troy Atman's like incoming angry Knicks fans. So now that the Knicks lost, what does that mean for those of you who follow basketball? Does that mean they're out of it totally, or do they still have one more shot to get the job done? Roz999 says, Tom, have you heard what's happening at Columbia? Yes, I have heard what's happening at Columbia. Indeed, I have. I think one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten throughout my life is really to avoid and stay away from all those crazy type things, right? So many times there's like protests or riots, civil unrest. You should probably just disassociate, not get yourself involved. Only spells trouble. Trouble begets trouble. So, if those people want to, turn an Ivy League institution into an encampment, which pretty much looks like a homeless shelter, hey, I mean, if Columbia doesn't want to do anything about it, I'm not an alumni. I haven't given them a dime. So, suit yourself. I mean, again, we talked about it briefly at the beginning of the stream, but I just think it's crazy because, imagine a kid who goes to Columbia that has nothing to do with any of this, right? Like, imagine you're just like some random international student. Your parents, saved every dime they had to send you to this Ivy League institution, and now during finals when you're supposed to be studying, your school is turned into a homeless encampment. That to me is ridiculous that they allow that to go on. They should allow protesting, right? That's a fundamental constitutional right. They should allow protesting, not turning everything into a homeless encampment and barricading yourself in buildings. That is ridiculous. But again, I'm not one of these big smart Ivy League guys. What do I know? Whoa, I think that was lightning. Oh no, maybe that was someone's camera flash. Did you guys see that? Check this out. Beautiful shot of the Empire. Man, the Empire looks great. Thank God it stopped raining, though. I thought I was going to get soaked. So this is the Starbucks Reserve Roastery. Speaking of Starbucks, stock got hammered, clocked, down big after hours after a very lackluster earnings report. Now the question is, do we think Starbucks, right here, has reached the point of saturation do we think all of the growth is kind of baked into Starbucks? I mean, the journey of the company has been amazing. I mean, the growth is just absolutely incredible, explosive growth. There comes a time when, growth stagnates. It seems as if Starbucks is getting to that point. I mean, if you walk down a New York City street, if you look to your right, you'll have a Starbucks. If you look to your left, there'll be some other form of Starbucks, right? So, same-store sales were down. They've cut guidance in the most recent earnings report. So I think that's kind of what you call a mature company. You kind of want to try to identify those early stage Starbucks. And that's what we were talking about last night, right? Economies of scale, scalability. That is probably the number one magic elixir for a lot of these QSR restaurants, right? Quick service restaurants, is the scalability. So we talked about, Wingstop has performed really well. Very, very scalable business, very small, simple menu, easy to scale, and people love it. Chipotle, very small, very simple menu. They've probably done the best job out of any QSR restaurant in the entire world at scaling Chipotle. Very profitable. So if you can try to find companies that could potentially have that same scalability and growth trajectory, that's kind of where you want to be. So we were kind of, speculating Kava, is another publicly traded company. It's Chipotle-esque. We're not really going to spend too much time talking about it again. It's like a Mediterranean-style Chipotle. But in general, for those type of businesses to be successful, you need scale and you need volume and you need very, very high repeat customers. Hey, Joe E., what's going on? This is not to get political, but why aren't the protesters protesting the people who attacked Israel? I don't know. Go ask them. It's a good question. I think there's a lot I could say about that. A lot of people that I interacted with during my college years were, I don't know, they're just a little weird, man. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I want to go into it, but especially a lot of the, and I'm a white person, so I could say this, a lot of the white people that were, let's say, came from non-New Yorkers, right? Let's say they're just coming here for college, they're from Ohio, they're from the Midwest or something like that. Almost all of them that I've interacted with throughout college, they feel like they have to apologize for themselves. And it was very weird, dude. I don't know. I just try to stay away from them. It was weird. It's just weird. It's like they don't like their own race. It's like they don't like themselves. So they feel they have to, it's just a bizarre. I don't know how to describe it. It's just bizarre. Anyway. Just bizarre stuff, dude. Peter says low self-esteem. No, I think it's just they were brainwashed to think that, if you're white, you have all this privilege and you need to, be an apologist, and it's just, I don't want to get into it. They were weirdos, dude. It's just we shouldn't ingrain society to think like that. Everybody should just treat each other normally, just be a normal person, and interact with everybody from all different races, religions, and just be a normal dude. I mean, I don't understand what else to say. That's really about it.
I just thought once you saw the time, you would realize that's all.
Because at the end of the day, America is the promised land, dude. This is the greatest country on earth, and there's equal opportunity for everybody here. Doesn't matter what your race, religion is, you can get rich, you can get really, really wealthy in this country. do really, really well for yourself if you come to America. Doesn't matter. So just do what you got to do. Just be normal. You don't have to be an apologist. Treat everybody with respect, and you'll live a happy life. You know, I went to a CUNY school, which is public school in New York City. And there was a lot of that. And it came from the teachers. And I really saw it in my junior and senior year. And I know I really shouldn't be going down this route, but I think it is an important topic. A lot of the adjunct professors were like my age. And even I remember like some of my economics professors, they were like 28 years old. And we're supposed to be talking about economics, but it was all about everything is oppression, everything sucks, America's bad, this bad, you know, there's no class mobility in America. And educators are supposed to be inspiring the youth and in creating an environment that, dude, you can do anything you want here, okay? This is the big leagues. You know, that's what an educator is supposed to do. You're supposed to encourage and say you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it and you work hard. And that's the truth. But a lot of the messaging, from my experience going to college in New York City, has been the opposite. It's oppression. Oh, you are oppressed. You can't do it because of this other guy. You can do whatever you want. You know, I made a lot of money under President Barack Obama. I made a lot of money under President Trump. And I made a lot of money continuously under President Biden. Doesn't matter who's the president, doesn't matter the color of the guy's skin. This is America. It's not like Joe Biden is preventing me from doing these streams or selling more real estate. But a lot of these younger professors, I think they're a little naive. They get so psychoanalyzed into the systemic oppression. You know, you can't do this. You didn't have the opportunities because of this guy or that guy or this policy. It's like, dude, you can't ingrain that into people. Because kids are very impressionable, especially teenagers, and people in their younger 20s. When they're just leaving the house, you know, they're going to college, they're very impressionable. That's when you're supposed to kickstart, you know, and be out of the starting gate and with the sprint. But a lot of these colleges kind of put a dim switch on that, from my experience, and it creates, you know, an environment where people feel that they may not be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish because, oh, my professor said, you know, America still has all the systemic racism and that's why I didn't get this job or I can't get that job. That's all bullshit. It's all that is bullshit. All right, give me a second. I gotta plug in my phone. But I still think college is very valuable. You learn a lot of life skills. It's just some of the elective classes, they focus way too much on, you know, the negative. And again, you know, it's kind of like growing up, parents always tell you that you suck and they diminish you. You're probably going to have a lot of psychological issues. You know, you're probably going to have depression, you're probably going to suffer from anxiety. But if you grow up in an encouraging environment with parents who encourage you to push you to do better, right? Push your limits and challenge yourself and instill that value that you can do anything you want. Doesn't matter what you look like, you know, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. So long as you're in this country, it's game on. Go pursue whatever you want. That makes a huge difference. So, if anything, I believe the colleges should overcorrect on their brainwashing. They should do like extreme, like the most cringy self-help
Tony Robbins brainwashing would be way better than what they're doing now, because at least people would have better self-esteem and it would be a better environment. And you can kind of tell the kids that are really bought into this stuff. I mean, some of them look like they suffer from severe mental health issues, and that's all from being told that you're oppressed and that you're not good enough. But you are good enough. You can do whatever you want. All right, I got some water on the lens. I'm gonna try to clear it off. Hold on. Hold on. I think I made it worse by trying to wipe it. Let me see. I did make it worse. Give me a second. All right, that should be better. All right, beautiful shot of the Empire. Yeah, Deborah, I think you're missing the point. It's not to say it doesn't exist. You can't dwell on it. You know, you gotta, have some mental fortitude. I've never experienced that. I mean, I worked at some of the biggest companies in America, had some directors, sales managers that knock down $750,000 a year that are black, that are Asian, that are Hispanic. The point is, the messaging needs to be better to the youth. Instead of teaching from a point of you're oppressed, you can't be successful in this country, America's on the decline, you need to reframe that conversation, right? It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. That's all. All right, this is Koreatown, 32nd Street. Just make a quick maneuver around here. One thing about Koreatown, there's a lot of garbage that piles up. We need to come up with an innovative way to kind of hide all the garbage. Anyway, we'll put a cap on that conversation. It's just we've been getting hit up with so many comments about the Columbia thing, because I know it's popping off and I know it's going all, it's all over the media outlets. Yeah, someone says that, yeah, and I stated that before at the beginning. That's the problem. Most of the people who are raising hell at Columbia, they're not even students. These people are like 50 and 60 years old. They're like career, protesters just raising hell on the campus during finals week. That's unacceptable to me. Because these kids pay a lot of money. This is like 80 grand a year. And you're gonna go there and, you know, raise hell for these kids during finals week at an Ivy League school. That's crazy. It's just total craziness that they're allowing that to go down. Again, not the protesting, but the barricading yourself in a building and then saying, here's my list of demands. It's like cartoon world. All right, let's see if we buffer. The crowds aren't as big as I expected. Probably everybody just went home. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's too many people out, actually. We'll see. Well, tomorrow, we're going to do an entire in-depth stream talking about Fed speech, FOMC day. And it's May 1st. My God, can you believe that? May 1st already. Where did the year go? So now that the Knicks lost, what does that mean? Are they out of it completely, or do they have another chance to redeem themselves? Or was this it? Was this make or break day? This is where you now, I don't recognize it. Yeah, you know, honestly, you shouldn't recognize it because this is new. So you're looking at the brand new Pen 2 project from Vornado. They knocked down this big hotel just off to our right. This used to be the Hotel Pennsylvania, and this is the brand new revitalization here. Shane's Best of 7 series, they're still up. Got it. Well, for the sake of New York, let's hope that they win. The city's gonna be crazy if that happens.
At least dating a guy that's like 18.
DC 322s feel like 1994 all over again. Does anybody feel the same way? I don't know. I wasn't alive in 1994. I came a little bit after that. But the 90s were indeed fantastic. Oops. The 90s were indeed glorious. Let's go all the way to the back. All right, we got the light. Let's head out. I wonder if the game was even packed tonight, because it doesn't seem like there's too many people out. Who remembers Windows 95? Anybody here a big fan of Windows 95? The great operating system. Joseph Hardaway was born in 1995, so I remember the 2000s and the 2010s. Same here, same. But 1995 to the year 2000, those were good years, man. I feel like the world was normal. Or maybe I was just too young to kind of remember all the craziness, but things felt like cool in the late 90s. I feel like a lot more people were laid back. Even throughout like 2002. Yeah, Sunshine After Rain says I still remember floppy disks. I remember going on LimeWire and FrostWire. Well, actually, I don't remember going on LimeWire and FrostWire. I've never been on those sites. FBI, if you're watching. But yeah, I've never been on those sites, but I definitely remember their names for sure. I think many of you do too, right? You guys remember LimeWire and FrostWire? Obviously, we've never gone on those sites, duh. But, you know, we definitely remember them, for sure. There's a lot of police officers. NMB45 says I was born in 1990. I remember as a kid people being more friendly and laid back. Yeah, sometimes I'll watch those videos of like, you know, there'll be those short clips of like college parties in the 1990s. And for whatever reason, they just look like so much more fun than the stuff that happens now. Maybe it's just because, maybe it's a psychological thing. Anything that's new to you looks a lot more fun, but you know, college parties in the 90s, there was no cell phones, right? 1992, 1990. It's crazy just in 20 short years how much things have changed. So could you only imagine? And that's kind of like my whole point on the bull thesis for the next decade. You know, if we've gotten all of this crazy stuff from 1995 to 2024, think about what's going to happen in the next 24 years, the next 25 years. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely insane. I think the best way to think about it, oh, look at this pickleball court. This is cool. Let's see what these guys got. So it's the same rules as tennis, but just, you know. All this is brand new, by the way. It's cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, if things were this wild in terms of the technological advancements, in the next 20 years, the technology we have right now is going to feel like, you know, us talking about floppy disks again. We're going to be like, oh, remember the iPhone 15? And we're going to be chuckling about it as if we're talking about a floppy disk. It's going to be crazy. Let's see who's coming out. You guys think any of the players are going to be coming out of here?
Okay,
so this is the back entrance to Madison Square Garden. Potentially.
Anybody good come out?
Someone says only the celebrities come out from that side. So you're talking about like the celebrities who watch the basketball game? Interesting. Now Spike Lee goes to all these games, right? Isn't he like one of the most famous New York Knicks fans ever? This is a cool shot. Look at this. NBA Live says Tom was the first PC you remember using. That's a good question. I remember using an iMac. I remember my uncle had one of those really old, clunky iMacs that were all those kind of crazy colors. It was like orange. There was a blue one. I remember using those. But I also remember like Windows. I remember using Windows 95, like for sure. But I think too young to remember like the exact brands, perhaps. Now, one of the things that's a little bit archaic, I remember using in school, were these devices called Danas. I'm not sure if anybody remembers this. This is how you would learn to type. They were like personal computers, but only to learn to type. And I remember using them in like first, second grade, maybe. And they would come in this huge cart, and then they would print your name on it. You would take it out of the cart, unplug it, right? And then you would type on it and do all your lessons. They were called Danas, D-A-N-A, I think. Not sure if anybody else remembers those. Now, I think the best course I've ever taken was an AutoCAD class in high school. That was probably the most useful course I've ever taken. Because you could build things in AutoCAD and then you could 3D print it. So I would just stay in the shop building random stuff, printing it in a 3D printer. And the funny thing is, a lot of those courses, right? Like those shop courses, the AutoCAD, that was really labeled what a lot of the, you know, quote unquote stupid kids would take. But turns out those were the courses that are probably the most valuable. Alright, here we are at the Moynihan train hall. We'll make our way around and then head inside. Soho Joe, I remember those two, the Texas Instruments. What was it called? The T983 or the TS83? Something like that, calculator? Texas Instruments. Or TI-83 calculator, something like that. OGO says 3D printing never took off commercially. That was probably one of the big, well, I'm not going to say one of the biggest, but that was a big kind of like speculative mania in the stock market. A lot of those 3D printing stocks. So many people thought that 3D printing was going to take off in a major way. Just like, you know, they thought that every American was going to have a 3D printer in their home. It never really took off at all.
Actually, I know the guys. I think that's what they started.
There still are 3D printing stocks that trade. Now, in terms of broadcasting, who remembers Justin TV? Anybody remember that? Justin TV? Now, that was like a sports broadcasting service that you could stream all the sports games for free. I remember that. I think it was either shut down or closed up the project. I don't know, but I remember a lot of those like free streaming sites, like Justin TV and the like. Oh, did it really?
This is New York.
That's wild.
So nice, they named it twice.
Became Twitch. Didn't know that. I never knew that. All right, here we are, Moynihan Train Hall. And in the back, you have the beautiful Hudson Yards. You see 1 Manhattan West and 2 Manhattan West. This view of the city looks like Gotham City, with the New York Times building in the distance. Now, this building that's not completed, this went into foreclosure. I don't know when the auction is or if it's sold to somebody, but this is essentially a dead project. Right here, you can see the core concrete hollow frame. I'll probably have to do some more diligence into what it's gonna be about. But right here, this is like a dead project. It's a tough part of town for commercial. Really, really tough part of town. This has some of the highest office vacancy in the entire city, right here at the Penn District. Hey, Steve Gonzalez, what's up? Check that out. It's a really cool view. the main entrance to the AC and E train, right at Penn Station. Man, that is a sick view. I think the color scheme really makes the view tonight. Let's go by the B&H. Probably looks better from back there. Hey, what's up, Joe C? Good to see you. If it wasn't so windy, I'd take you guys all the way to the Hudson Yards. You got to check out that video I posted of the brand new Moynihan Highline extension. So the extension will take you all the way from the Whole Foods. It'll wrap you around by the vessel, and it connects to the regular Highline. And you can take the Highline all the way down to Meatpacking District, pretty much. It's one of the best things in the city when weather is permitting, is the Highline. So if you're visiting New York in the summer, that's a must. Wow, it does look better. Look at that. Andrew says, have I been to Columbia? I have not, but I would love to go. Yeah, Isabel, I heard that. I think they're going to reopen the vessel very, very soon. Yeah, the later at night it is and the further west you go, the quieter it gets. We do these streams every night, starting at 8:30 or 9, depending. Now this place is brand new that I'm very curious about. Creamy Bar. Let's cross and check it out. One more shot of the Empire. Man, that's just a gorgeous view. Kind of like surreal. But look at this. This is all brand new. This is like an indoor, outdoor. Maybe it looks like a steakhouse. Let's read the menu, shall we? All right, guys, what do you think? What do we got here? It's an Italian spot. Well, it's a cool entryway. I mean, look at how dramatic that entryway is. And you have tons of outdoor seating too. Very strategically located, right across from the train station. That's cool. Looks brand new. I don't know what that's about. Somebody's talking about an inflatable hot dog with a webcam. I do not know what that's about. Where's that? You're talking about right here in Penn Station? There's always some crazy stuff going on in New York. Now the Hudson Yards is an amazing new development in New York City. It's a collective of office space, retail, hotels. It's amazing. You also have the Equinox Hotel. Hey, Shell, thank you so much for your very generous $10 donation. It's for gas mileage your legs produce. For sure. Guys, what do you think our carbon footprint is? We're probably one of the most environmentally friendly group going here. But thank you for your donation. Thank you for the support. We'll venture a teeny bit further into the Hudson Yards. Look at how grand the lobbies are, guys. I mean, this is Class A beauty office tower at its finest. Very, very dramatic ceiling heights. You have Accenture here. The NHL's headquarters is located right in here. You have EY, major consulting firm. Now 50 Hudson Yards is where BlackRock moved. Dior says, I applied for a job at Accenture and got a denial. Oh man, what a loss for them. How could they deny a Walks in Wall Street listener? These are some of the smartest people on the planet right here. All right, let's see if the internet holds up, and I'll take you guys to the connection, the Moynihan connection. Hey, RB, what's going on? Yeah, we tried to check out the Knicks coming out, but they lost. So there really wasn't that much action over at Madison Square Garden. Hey, Vivian Francesca, good to see you. Thanks for joining us on our Sunny Isles Beach, Florida walk earlier today. This is another awesome view. Hey, what's up, Dave? Western Mass Dave. Good to see you. Yeah, so it's been difficult for me to read the chats tonight. Now it's closed now, but you can see the connector bridge here. This cost about $50 million. Believe that. And it'll wrap around all the way to the Highline. Very futuristic looking. This is what's my step count? I don't know. I think I average maybe 25,000 steps a day, I think, right around there. I'd say, yeah, maybe 25,000. Pretty cool view from up here. So this is overlooking 10th Avenue now and the Hudson Yards. Cool view. All right, let's wrap all the way around. Go back to the one-hand train hall. This is a really nice Whole Foods here. Oh yeah, Daniel. Is that right? The congestion pricing kicks in over the weekend? Oof. I didn't know that's starting so soon. That's a bummer. Yeah, so the congestion pricing, for those of you who don't know, if you drive south of 60th Street, you're gonna have to pay a toll. Which really sucks. Excuse me. Wow, Empire looks good even without all the New York Knicks colors. It says, hey Tom, it's Bob Cullen. Let me see. The light reflected is making it hard to read the chat. Oh no. I just have like allergies. And then, you know, drips down the back of your throat. Things like that. I thought you typed something else because that acronym was similar to something I'm doing with work. And I was like, what? I was like, no, never mind. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll call it a night here. If you enjoyed the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. And we'll see you tomorrow. Oh my God. I gotta get a drink of water. So guys, great stream. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Okay? We'll be right back at 8:30. If you want to join us. So leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you later. Isabel, Mohammed, Lisa, all of our moderators, NBA Elias, thank you so much. Crypto Meme. And yeah, always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. See you guys tomorrow. Take care.